Do you know who first gave the structures of DNA double helix? Yes, they were Watson and Crick. And do you know based on which rule the double helical structure of DNA was given? Yes, it is Chargaff's rule or Chargaff's rule. Hello everyone, this is Dr. Madhushri Chatterjee and welcome to MC Biology classes. In today's lecture video, I am going to talk about Chargaff's rule. Okay, so let's begin with it. There are basically three different structures of DNA. Okay, we call it aDNA, bDNA and zDNA or zDNA. And the most commonly occurring one is the bDNA. And the structure of bDNA was actually deduced by Watson and Crick. So before going into this rule, let us just have a look at the structure of DNA. Okay, I am not going into the detailed structure. I will make a separate video on that. But for understanding of this rule, few things you should know. Okay. First of all, bDNA is actually anti-parallel in nature. Okay, it is anti-parallel. You must be thinking, ma'am just said the structure of DNA is double helix, but ma'am is drawing linear structure. Why? Just for your easy understanding. Okay. Now, what do we mean by anti-parallel? See, this is one strand and this is the other strand. If one strand runs in this direction, that is 5' to 3', the opposite strand or the other strand will run in the opposite direction, that is 3' to 5'. And this particular arrangement is known as anti-parallel arrangement. Okay, we call it, let me just write it here, we call it anti-parallel arrangement. Now see, here I have written 5' and here I have written 3'. How can we understand which end is 5' or which end is 3'? Is there any clue? Yes, 5' end contains, let me just, yes, contains phosphate. Okay, so 5' end will contain phosphate group and the 3' end will contain hydroxyl group. Okay, 3' end will contain hydroxyl group. So obviously this 3' end will also contain hydroxyl group and this 5' end will contain phosphate, right? Now see, very often we discuss about this that DNA is negatively charged. Why do we call it so? Because DNA contains phosphate group, right? Phosphate means what? PO4 3-, right? So these 3- charges will impart negative charge to DNA. Okay? So this is the basic structure of DNA. Now see, we all know that DNA contains, the basic unit of DNA is nucleotides. We know that, and nucleotides contain ribose sugar which is pentose, that means which contain 5 carbon, right? Then along with ribose sugar it contains nitrogenous bases, and nitrogenous bases can be of two types. One is purine, the other one is pyrimidine, and along with it phosphate is present. So this is about the structure of DNA, that is the components of DNA. Okay. Now see, if this strand and this strand are anti-parallel, how they are actually gonna look like? If this strand contains a particular base, say for example adenine, the opposite strand will contain the complementary base, that is thymine. We all are well acquainted with these facts, right? Then if this contains guanine, then the opposite strand present, that is present in the anti-parallel strand, will contain cytosine. Okay, so on. So if this contains, say for example thymine, then it will obviously contain adenine. So on, right? That means adenine always pairs with thymine. Now adenine always pairs with thymine. Why 2 bonds are given here? Because these 2 bonds represent 2 hydrogen bonds. Okay. So what I mean to say by this is that adenine pairs with thymine with the help of two hydrogen bonds, right? And the second part is that, see, guanine has paired with cytosine, and we know that guanine pairs with cytosine with the help of three hydrogen bonds. Okay, three hydrogen bonds. Now I have a question for the viewers. If I talk about denaturation of DNA, what is that? If I just want to separate the two strands of DNA, I can apply heat or I can use some other chemical agents. So, if I want to denature these two strands of DNA, that means I have to break the hydrogen bonds between the two bases, right? Now, the question to my viewers is that if I want to break an adenine thymine bond and a guanine cytosine bond, in which case I have to apply more energy. If you understand this concept, you will be surely able to give the answer. So please write in the comment section. Okay. So adenine and thymine is paired with two hydrogen bonds and guanine and cytosine with three hydrogen bonds. So let us just talk about the actual DNA double helix. Okay. And this is how a DNA double helix looks like. And this is one complete turn, right? And length of a complete turn, that is from here to here, length of a complete turn is 34 angstrom, right? Now I have one question for the viewers. 1 angstrom is equal to how many meters? Please write in the comment section. So the length of this complete turn is 34 angstrom, and the total number of nitrogen base pair in a turn is 10. You can easily count from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now see, I have mentioned here base pair. I have not written bases, right? There is a subtle difference between base pairs and bases. What is the difference? This is one pair. Pair means one base in this strand and the other base in the opposite strand. The other base means, yes, the complementary base, right? So likewise, this is one pair, this is second pair, this is pair 3, this is fourth pair, this is fifth pair. So likewise, 10 base pairs in a turn, right? Now if we assume that the bases are equally spaced, then the distance between each nitrogen base pair would be 34 angstrom divided by 10 base pair, that is 3.4 angstrom. You need to memorize this, and remember, this is for bDNA. Okay, here we are talking about bDNA. So for bDNA, the distance between each nitrogen base pair is 3.4 angstrom. Okay. Shargap's rule is valid only in case of double-stranded DNA. It is not valid in case of RNA or single-stranded DNA. Now let us just have a look at the rules. The first rule states that the total amount of purine bases is equal to the total amount of pyrimidine bases. That means adenine plus guanine is equal to cytosine plus thymine. See, here I have not written uracil. Why? Because uracil base is present in case of RNA only, and this rule is not valid in case of RNA. And secondly, that means the amount ratio between purine and pyrimidine, that is A plus G divided by C plus T, is 1, right? And this is for all species. That means the ratio between purine bases and pyrimidine bases will be 1 for all species. So by applying this rule, you cannot differentiate between species, right? Because for every species, this ratio is going to be 1, right? Then the next rule states that the amount of adenine is equal to the amount of thymine and the amount of guanine is equal to the amount of cytosine. And the third law states that the base ratio, that is the ratio between adenine plus thymine and guanine plus cytosine, is constant for each species. That means by applying this rule, you can differentiate between species because this is constant for each species, right? Now here I have one question for the viewers. Do you know the base ratio for prokaryotes and eukaryotes? What is the base ratio in case of prokaryote and what is the base ratio in case of eukaryotes? If you know the answer, please write in the comment section below. So this is about the Shargup's rule. Now I will start discussing different numericals based on this Shargup's rule, because in exam you are definitely going to get at least one question from this Shargup's rule. Okay. So let us start with question number 1. This is the question number 1. The DNA of an organism has 20% thymine bases. What percent of its bases would be guanine? Now see, as per Shargup's rule, the percentage of thymine is equal to the percentage of adenine, right? And by question, the thymine percentage is 20%. So adenine will be also 20%. Okay. Now see the total percentage of all the bases, right? Adenine plus thymine plus guanine plus cytosine is of course 100%. So let me just write it here, that adenine plus thymine plus guanine plus cytosine is 100%. Now we know that adenine and thymine both have 20% each. Therefore, guanine plus cytosine would be 100 minus 20 plus 20, that is equal to 60%. Now see, again by Shargup's rule, we know that the percentage of guanine is again equal to cytosine, right? So guanine and cytosine both will be equal to 30%. Okay. And in the question it has been asked, what percent of its bases would be guanine? So the answer would be 30% of its bases would be guanine. Hope it is clear to all of you. Now the question number 2 is in front of you. Just have a look. In a given sample of DNA, adenine is 30%, thymine is 20%, guanine is 15% and cytosine is 35%. Now the question is, what is your inference? See how to attempt these kind of questions. First of all, just have a look at the percentages mentioned. Adenine percentage is 30%, thymine is 20%. Now we know that as per Shargup's rule, in case of a double-stranded DNA, the percentage of adenine bases is always equal to the percentage of thymine bases, right? But as per the question, the percentage of adenine here is not equal to the percentage of thymine, right? Because percentage of adenine is 30 and percentage of thymine is 20. That means adenine and thymine are not equal, and at the same time guanine and cytosine bases are also not equal. So this is definitely not a double-stranded DNA. Fine. So this is one conclusion. It's not yet finished. Can it be RNA? No, it can't be RNA. Why? Because uracil percentage is not mentioned. Percentage of thymine is mentioned. And we know that DNA contains thymine, whereas it is replaced with uracil in case of RNA. Since the percentage of thymine has been given, not uracil, that means this is not an RNA, right? This is not an RNA. So obviously this is going to be a single-stranded DNA. So this is going to be single-stranded DNA. Okay? I hope this is clear to all of you. Solve question number 3. What is mentioned in question number 3? To a bDNA of 6.8 nanometer length, the thymine percent is 30. Calculate the total number of hydrogen bonds present between the bases. So how we are going to solve this question? First, try to memorize that I mentioned that a complete turn in DNA double helix is 34 angstrom. That means 3.4 nanometer is one complete turn. In question, it is given 6.8 nanometer. Therefore, 6.8 nanometer will have 2 turns, right? And one complete turn contains how many nitrogen base pairs? Yes, 10. That means 2 turns will contain 20 nitrogen base pair, right? And 20 nitrogen base pair means how many bases? It is 20 into 2, that is 40 bases, right? So this data we are going to apply to solve this question. Now see, the percentage of thymine is 30. So how many thymine bases will be present? So the number of thymine bases will be 40 into 30%, right? And that is 12. And as per the Chargaff's rule, since it is bDNA, the number of adenine bases will be equal to that of thymine bases. Therefore, adenine bases will also be 12, right? Now, adenine plus thymine plus guanine plus cytosine is 40. From here we get this. Therefore, guanine plus cytosine will be 40 minus adenine 12, thymine 12. So, this, that is 40 minus 24, that is 16. And again by Chargaff's rule, we know that guanine is equal to cytosine. That means there will be 8 bases of guanine and 8 cytosine, right? And in question it has been asked the number of hydrogen bonds. Now adenine bonds with thymine with the help of 2 hydrogen bonds. So for 12 bases the number of hydrogen bonds will be 24 hydrogen bonds between adenine and thymine, right? And in case of guanine and cytosine there are presence of 3 hydrogen bonds. So 8 into 3, that is again 24 hydrogen bonds between guanine and cytosine. So therefore total number of hydrogen bonds will be 24 plus 24, that is 48, and this is the answer. Hope it is clear to all of you. So this is our question number 4. Suppose the ratio of A plus G by T plus C is 0.7 in one strand of a double-stranded DNA. What is the same ratio in the opposite strand? That means you have to find out exactly the same ratio in the complementary strand. How to solve this type of question? See, we know that in case of double-stranded DNA, in case of bDNA, the 2 strands are antiparallel, right? And one strand is contains the bases which are complementary to the opposite strand. Now, if one strand has this ratio, that is A plus G by T plus C, the opposite strand will have the ratio, that is adenine's complementary base would be thymine and guanine's complementary base would be cytosine. Then thymine's complementary is adenine and cytosine's complementary is guanine. So, if this is present in one strand, the complementary strand will be this, and if this ratio given is 0.7, so this is obviously 0.7, right? Now in question it has been asked what is the same ratio in the opposite strand. See, the ratio of T plus C by A plus G in the opposite strand is 0.7. But it has been asked about this ratio in the opposite strand, that is A plus G by T plus C. It has been asked in the question. If T plus C by A plus G is 0.7, what is going to be A plus G by T plus C? That is just reverse of it. Therefore, this is going to be 1 by 0.7, that is 10 by 7. This is going to be the answer of the question. Okay, so is it clear to all of you? So this is all about today's lecture, and very shortly a small assignment is coming on your screen. Try to solve the question and write the answers in the comment section. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much.